I'm sweaty because first of all, I had like a whole thing of matcha, and then I went to the coffee shop and I had 2 shots of espresso. I don't know why I did that. And now I'm eating very spicy food that I made. It's kidney beans and rice. I'm almost done with it, so it doesn't even look that good. But it tastes good, but it's just like really, really spicy. I just wanted to come on here and talk about the books that I have recently been reading. I think the last time I posted, I made a video about Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami, which I loved, and which I'm still thinking about the main character. After that, I quickly started reading Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. I liked it. It was really good. I liked the setting a lot. It was kind of like countryside. I think it was in England, I'm pretty sure, in like the early 1900s, I want to say. And it's like by cliffs and moors, and it's a very different, unique type of setting than anything that I've ever read, maybe. I feel like most of the books I read are set in the modern time. It's a story about a woman that loses her mother and she has to move in to her aunt's home, and her aunt lives pretty much in an inn called Jamaica Inn with her husband, who's like the landlord of Jamaica Inn. I don't know why I put air quotes, he is the landlord. And it's very, very good writing. He's a very like spooky person, and there's some spooky things going on in Jamaica Inn. There's just a lot of shady stuff going on in the background. And she's noticing this, and the uncle, I call him the uncle, like the landlord. She calls him her uncle, her aunt's husband. He's a very violent person, and he's got a mouth on him. Like, he's very disrespectful, and you can tell he's in some weird shady business. So Mary Yellen, that's her name, the main character, she's just kind of like wants to get out of there, but she doesn't want to leave her aunt there because her aunt just seems like she's having, what is that thing called when you're like in an abusive situation, but then you're kind of feeling bad for the person doing that to you? There's a word for that, I can't remember. Yeah, she's just kind of like, she's like, oh, we have to do everything that, I forgot what the landlord's name is. We have to do everything, my husband says, da-da-da. And her name was Aunt Patience. I'll never forget. She was very patient. It was super good, and there is a bit of romance as well, and a very good plot twist that I didn't see coming. So I really liked it. Really liked the writing. I liked the characters as well. And then I started reading The Da Vinci Code after that. The Da Vinci Code is so good. Unfortunately, I left the book on a plane and I had to get it on my iPad, which I didn't want to do because my sister found the original copy in a free library, so I was like, whatever. Anyway, so then I started reading it, and I'm already so obsessed because the fact that it's set in Paris, and I'm not that far, I'm only a couple of chapters in. But I'm kind of in the middle of a couple of books. So it's set in the Louvre, the famous museum in Paris, and there's like a secret society vibe, and yeah, it's super good. And then currently I'm also reading The Catcher in the Rye. I can't put it down. It is such a readable book, and I like the character. I know people find him annoying, but he's so honest. I mean, he's a liar. Like, a lot of stuff he says, he lies, but he knows he's a liar, which makes him intriguing to me. This morning, I'm like 80 pages in. I can't believe I've never read Catcher in the Rye. I think that's so crazy to me. That's like literally a classic. I feel like I think it's a modern classic, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. When I was a junior in high school, everybody was reading that book. I remember it was assigned in class, but not in my class. Because I wanted to be fancy and take AP Lit. Girl, that was a mistake. I had like the worst teacher ever. Even though I've been out of high school since like 2016, I still remember her and her face. Ugh, I hate her. Anyway, and then this morning I started reading Memories of My Melancholy Horse by Gabriel Marquez. I don't know. I think that's his name. It's super weird. It's about this guy that wants to have sex with a virgin, and he's 90 years old. That's as far as I got. It's interesting. Very weird. It's like a 14-year-old girl I think he ends up hooking up with. At least that's what it says on the synopsis. That was the norm. I finished my kidney beans and rice. I have sparkling water with a lime. And now I'm about to go to the library and return a couple of books that are overdue. Then I'm gonna make a new recipe. It's like green lentils and rice. It's a Lebanese recipe. Aren't I fancy? I've just been doing beans too much, so I need to switch over to lentils, but I don't want to do red lentils. Red lentils don't fill me up, so I'm like, I have to switch over. Try green lentils, black lentils, just anything that's bigger would help. And then I'm gonna make a side of like sweet potatoes, because I started reading this book called Proteinaholic by Garth Davis, and he was saying how there was a study done of people, and it's called the Blue Zone, which is a study on the longest living people or the healthiest living people on Earth, and one of them was like people in Okinawa. I think that's how you say it, Okinawa. And I guess they eat a lot of like purple potatoes. I forgot what it's called, yams. It's pretty much sweet potatoes. And so I was like, shit, I gotta get back on my sweet potato bag. Because it's like, I forget how filling it is, and it's just delicious. So yeah, I just kind of like want to switch up what I eat. I've been off the past like 2 days from work, so I've really just been spending a lot of time by myself and reading my books. I haven't been reading as often as I should. I have been watching a lot of documentaries. I did watch this documentary called Abercrombie and Finch. If you were in high school in like 2013, 2014, you know Abercrombie and Fitch was that girl. Like everybody was wearing Abercrombie and Fitch. Like if you weren't wearing Abercrombie and Fitch, like you were not cool. Like even in like middle school, I remember I forced my dad to take me to the mall. This is so crazy. To buy me a sweater from Abercrombie and Fitch, because I was like, everybody's wearing it, like I have to wear it too. Like girl, it's so crazy. But yeah, the documentary was just about how the whole brand is about exclusivity, and it's like an all-American brand, but they only hire attractive white people to work at their store. And then everyone else that was like a person of color, they would have working at night or in the back, and they got sued pretty much, and they were like, okay, inclusion and diversity director, we're gonna change things up, and which they did. But there were also like a bunch of other shit going on, like the photographer that was taking these photos. I don't know if you've ever seen like the Abercrombie and Fitch advertisements, but it's a bunch of like shirtless white dudes, or like pretty much like half naked women. But I guess the photographer, I forget his name, Bob Weston, something like that. He was like a 50-something-year-old guy, and I guess he did some inappropriate things to these men. Some of them were actually underage, and like he would just do some nasty stuff to them, and he denied all the allegations, but he did plead guilty to 2 of the misconducts that happened later on. But yeah, it was very interesting. Apparently there was some like, I guess he was like, I don't know, girl, like it was so interesting, because like I just remember thinking how everybody and their mama was wearing Abercrombie and Fitch. And yeah, and then I guess that pushed me to watch another documentary about American Apparel, which is another brand. Girl, I went on like a little quest, and I was like, let me learn about all the fashion brands that were big when I was in high school. And I guess the CEO or the creator of American Apparel is like a psychopath, and he would like yell at people, and it was like super culty vibes. He also got accused for sexually abusing some of the models, and he would have his, workers live in his home and stuff like that, and he was like just super weird. And the company went bankrupt later on, and he actually now works for a Yeezy. He works with Kanye. He's one of the CEOs of, I think he is the CEO of Yeezys, which is just like, what the hell. The part that I thought was so funny was, I forget his name. It was like something Chavez was his name. Rob Chavez, Bob Chavez, I don't know. This guy, when he was the American Apparel like top dog, whatever, the person that he put on his board member as his board member was the writer of the book. What is that book called? Something Laws of Power, 50 Laws of Power or something. Bob Green, something like that. And I remember reading a couple of chapters of that book, and I was like, this man is crazy. Like, and I guess that was his kind of he followed the values of that book, and that's kind of how he ran his company. And he put him as one of his board members. Like, are you crazy? What does this guy know about fashion? I mean, I guess like you don't need to know anything about fashion to be a board member. You probably just need to have money. I don't know. But yes, and then after that, I watched a documentary series about Trump, and it was accounts of people that were friends with him and his enemies back in like the 1980s when he was building the Trump Tower and the Trump Plaza and the Taj Mahal casinos he built in Atlantic City, and how he just owed a lot of money to like all these banks and stuff. And girl, I was learning so much about his he had a very messy romance. Like, he was dating around, he was cheating allegedly, but this is information from his friends and enemies, like I said. But yeah, very interesting. I'm taking another social media break, so like it's kind of forcing me to watch all these documentaries. And I started a new show called 4 Seasons with Steve Carell. The episode before the last one, I had to stop because something terrible happened, and I was like, forget it, it's not worth it. And then I guess I didn't really like some of the ideas that they were kind of pushing on that show, and yeah, it just kind of felt like they need to get with the program of how young people now think, like myself, about like marriage and having kids and love. And yeah, they were kind of still being old school about it, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it was just kind of not my vibe and not something I hold to be true, so I kind of stopped watching it. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rant about the movies and shows I've been watching. Documentaries, I should say. I'm gonna go to the library now, return those books, come home, make my lentil and rice and sweet potatoes. I hope you have a great day.